What if you got shot in the head and forgot your moral compass, but then got lucky and found some religious texts to tell you how to treat your fellow man? What outcome would that have for society? This is what I'm exploring in this video, and I will simulate this in Fallout New Vegas.
Where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Whoa, easy there, easy. You've been out cold a couple of days now.
I wake up at Doc Mitchell's house. If he hadn't dug out the bullet from my skull, I'd surely be dead. He also patched up my pretty face and made sure I got on my way.
Well, if you're heading back out there, you ought to have this. Ain't much use to me now, but you might want such a thing after what you've been through. I know what it's like having something taken from you. You should talk to Sunny Smiles before you leave town. She can help you learn to fend for yourself in the desert.
I exit his clinic and the town of Goodsprings greets me. It's a small quiet town in the Mojave Desert consisting of a saloon, a shop and some small-time farmers working the lands. Down at the saloon I met Sunny Smiles.
Yeah, I guess there's a thing or two I could show you. Sounds like you need all the help you can get after what they done to you. Meet me outside, behind the saloon. Now, see the sarsaparilla bottles on the fence there? Take this and try to hit a couple of them. That's the right idea. Look down the sight. Try crouching down and staying still. Nice shot. Well, that's a start. But I don't reckon you came to me to learn to fight sarsaparilla bottles. Tell you what, I gotta go chase geckos away from our water supply anyway. Darn critters are attracted to it. Why don't you come along? Hear that up on the ridge behind me there? We got some geckos to clear out. Bunch of little monsters is what they are. Seems like Doc Mitchell treats more gecko bites than anything else. Help! Holy moly. If you hadn't come here like you done, I'd be a goner for sure. I came up here to draw water, but here, you should have what I got. You look thirsty. Now that was some good work. Even got a little exciting there at the end. Here's a little spending money for the trouble.
Sunny also taught me valuable survival skills, like how to make healing powder from brock flower and xander root. When I got back to the saloon, I noticed that there is trouble in town.
I'm done being nice. If you don't hand Ringo over soon, I'm going to get my friends and we're burning this town to the ground. Got it?
We'll keep that in mind. Now, if you're not gonna buy something, get out.
What the hell is your problem? He's some traitor who decided he'd rather shoot than pay the toll for being in our territory. He's hiding somewhere in town. Would serve these idiots right if me and my guys shot the place up after we got payback on Ringo.
When I found a man named Ringo hidden in an old gas station, I get a different story.
My caravan was on the return trip from California and heading back to the company branch in New Vegas when we got jumped. Not even a drop your weapons and hands up before the bullets started flying. We put up a good fight, but there was too many of them. I took a few of the bandits down before I ran, so I figured their friends are out for revenge.
He did not recognize Cobb's territory as theirs and saw them just as bandits that robbed his caravan. Now I was faced with my first moral dilemma. Who do I help in this conflict? The people of Goodsprings that saved my life and got me back on my feet? Or the fellows called powder gangers that wanted justice for their fallen men? Since I lost my moral compass from the gunshot trauma to the head, I needed some way to figure out what was the right thing to do. So I got the brilliant idea to go to the old school library to find some answers. After nearly dying fighting some mutated bugs in one of the classrooms, I found a computer. Logging in, there it was, the answer to all my questions of how to be a good person. I found the Talmud. The Talmud is the oral law of God's chosen people, so that surely has to be a good way of figuring out what's right and wrong. First, I read the Bava Kama Perek that proposes this hypothetical situation. Let's say that you're a judge in a legal dispute, and a Jew and a non-Jew stands trial against each other. The non-Jews are called Gentiles. In the case of a Jew and a Gentile who approach the court for judgment in a legal dispute, if you can vindicate the Jew under Jewish law, vindicate him and say to the Gentile, this is our law. If he can be vindicated under Gentile law, vindicate him and say to the Gentile, this is your law. And if it's not possible to vindicate him under either system of law, one approaches the case circuitously, seeking justification to vindicate the Jew. A synonym to circuitously is to be devious, meaning that you trick someone. And also, one other thing you should know about the Talmud is that it is written in the dialogue form between different Jewish rabbis who discusses what is the right thing to do and what is the wrong thing to do according to their other religious texts and practices. So in this discussion, I continue to read, Rabbi Akiva disagrees and says one does not approach the case circuitously in order to vindicate the Jew due to the sanctification of God's name, as God's name will be desecrated if the Jewish judge employs dishonest means. The Gemara infers from this Barita, and even according to Rabbi Akiva, the reason that the court does not employ trickery in order to vindicate the Jew is only because there is the consideration of the sanctification of God's name. Consequently, if there is no consideration of the sanctification of God's name, the court does approach the case circuitously. Apparently, it is permitted to deceive a Gentile. So, in short, lying is permitted, and I must lie to help a fellow Jewish person. Then I continue reading. Shmuel says that it's permitted to financially benefit from a business error of a Gentile. Like in the story when Ravina and a Gentile purchased a palm tree together in order to chop it up and split the wood between them. Ravina said to his attendant, hurry and precede the Gentile so that you can bring my share of the wood from the trunk of the tree, which is thicker than the upper part of the tree, as the Gentile knows only the number of logs that he is due to receive and will not realize that you are taking thicker pieces. So shady business practices where you screw over and backstab your non-Jewish partners is okay, as long as they are not part of my tribe. In another book called Tosefta Avodah Zara in chapter 9, where they instead of Gentile use the word idolater to describe a non-Jew, it says, bloodshed, how so? An idolater who kills an idolater or an idolater who kills a Jew are liable. A Jew who kills an idolater is exempt. So this basically means that I can kill non-Jews, but they are not allowed to kill me. That's good to know. Theft, how so? One who stole or robbed or took a female of war captive and so on. An idolater who did so to an idolater or an idolater who did so to a Jew is prohibited. A Jew who did so to an idolater is permitted. This book confirms that it's okay to rob and steal from Gentiles, and it's even okay to take female slaves. Who would have guessed? Okay, now my moral compass becomes clearer. It's not about what would be the best outcome for the population of Goodsprings that is important. It's what benefits me and my tribe that is of the highest priority. We are God's chosen people, after all. But who is my tribe in this conflict? Looking around, I couldn't find anyone in Goodsprings that remotely looked like me. But then it got all clear. Joe Cobb is short for Joseph Cobb, a Hebrew name. And when he was robbing that caravan, he was clearly following the teachings of the Talmud. Besides that, my people have no homeland, so we need to take Goodsprings in order to ensure the survival of the tribe. After this spiritual awakening, I head over to the store, bought a silenced pistol, and went straight to the gas station to murder Ringo. Since I'm playing on very hard and hardcore mode, I have to use the two tricks that is permitted in the Talmud, theft and murder. I steal Ringo's bullets so he can't shoot me, and then I sneak behind him and shoot him in the head. Afterwards, Joseph was very happy with my accomplishments, and it was now time to culturally enrich Goodsprings.
It's about time. I saw some of the townies gathering at the saloon, so we got a militia to take down. We get rid of them, and we own this place.
Sometimes the Talmud seems so invested in the boundary that it would seem to deny non-Jews a full measure of humanity altogether. And concerning bloodshed, in what manner is a transgressor culpable? A non-Jew against a non-Jew and a non-Jew against a Jew is liable. A Jew against a non-Jew is exempt. And concerning theft, in what manner is a transgressor culpable? A non-Jew against a non-Jew and a non-Jew against a Jew is prohibited. A Jew against a non-Jew is permitted. The passage introduces a double standard into Noahide law, exempting Jews who kill non-Jews from culpability and permitting Jews to use the stolen goods from non-Jews. Statements like this are troubling.
Cut it out, dude.
I looted all the corpses and sold all their valuables to the scared shop owner. My boy Joseph told me to head over to an old prison where the powder gangers had set up a base. Over the hills I found it, my new home in the desert. Talking to the guard gave me some insights into how they took over the place.
This is, or was, the big house. New California Republic Correctional Facility. Not much correcting went on here, just slave labor. One day, us prisoners decided to liberate ourselves. Killed the warden, killed the guards, took over the whole damn territory. We got sent here to fix the rails and make some new ones. And for that, we got to use dynamite. Of course, dynamite works pretty good against caravan guards, too. So, that's what we do. Rob and blow things up.
Apparently, a faction called the NCR had used them as slave labor, but they managed to break free and was now living in exile, robbing and stealing from Gentiles in order to survive. I went into the main building to talk to our leader. He told me that the NCR had trusted them with dynamite in order to help them build a railroad, but they used this dynamite to liberate themselves. No one really told me why they were taken as prisoners in the first place. But it was probably just due to racism or something. But as I got out from my secret meeting with our leader, the prison gets attacked by the NCR. No! They're invading my homeland! They're killing my people! What have we ever done to deserve this? What is the right thing to do now? Again, I turned to the Talmud for guidance. The Korean Talmud, Sanhedrin, Part 2, makes it very clear. A Gentile who struck a Jew is liable to receive the death penalty. Because one who slaps the cheek of a Jew is considered as though he slapped the cheek of the divine presence. I had no choice but to execute all the NCR soldiers. And from this moment on, I decided that everyone from the NCR had to die. Whoa, slow down. What about the innocent people in the NCR? I'm sure there has to be some good people that deserve to live, right? Yet again, returning to the Talmud, book called Sopherim 15, I read, "Kill the best of the heathens in time of war, crush the brain of the best of serpents. The most worthy of women indulges in witchcraft. Happy is he who does the will of the omnipresent." So there is no question about it. Everyone in the NCR must die.
There is no mercy. You may think you're being merciful to a child, but you're not being merciful to the child. You're being vicious to the ultimate victim that this child will grow up and kill. Because the ideology that that child will grow up with is even worse than the ideology of his father. Hence the reason why the Torah in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 20, verse 16, says, rules of war, Lo techaye kol neshama. Do not allow anyone to remain alive. Nothing. No mercy. Furthermore, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 25, verse 19, Macho et zecher Amalek. Completely erase any memory of Amalek, which means men, women, and children, the Torah says, do not have the right to exist.
But for this to happen, I need to get strong so I can fulfill the will of the Omnipresent. And to get the real firepower, I had to travel the long road to the city of New Vegas. Passing by the town of Nipton, it seems like something horrible has happened. There are people crucified on the street. Getting closer to the town hall, I'm greeted by a man in a wolf helmet.
Don't worry. I won't have you lashed to a cross like the rest of these degenerates. It's useful that you happen by. I want you to witness the fate of the town of Nipton, to memorize every detail. And then, when you move on, I want you to teach everyone you meet the lesson that Caesar's Legion taught here. Especially any NCR troops you run across. That they are weak, and we are strong, this much was known already. But the depth of their moral sickness, their disillusion, Nipton serves as the perfect object lesson. Nipton was a wicked place, debased and corrupt. It served all comers, so long as they paid. Profligate troops, powder gangers, men of the Legion, such as myself. The people here didn't care. It was a town of whores. For a pittance, the town agreed to lead those it had sheltered into a trap. Only when I sprang it did they realize they were caught inside it too. Yes, and herded them to the center of town. I told them their sins, the foremost being disloyalty. I told them that when legionaries are disloyal, some are punished, the others made to watch. And I announced the lottery. Each clutched his ticket, hoping it would set him free. Each did nothing, even when loved ones were dragged away to be killed. It has a stark beauty, doesn't it? I'm glad you can appreciate it.
I remember that I read something about torture in my Talmud studies. Onkelos then went and raised Jesus the Nazarene from the grave through necromancy. Onkelos said to him, "Who is the most important in that world where you are now?" Jesus said to him, "The Jewish people." Onkelos asked him, "Should I then attach myself to them in this world?" Jesus said to him, "Their welfare you shall seek, their misfortune you shall not seek, for anyone who touches them is regarded as if he were touching the apple of his eye." Onkelos said to him, "What is the punishment of that man?" A euphemism for Jesus himself in the next world. Jesus said to him, "He is punished with boiling excrement." As the master said, "Anyone who mocks the words of the sages will be sentenced to boiling excrement." And this was his sin, as he mocked the word of the sages. The Legion should really get on my level, and instead of crucifying their enemies, boil them in shit like we're doing with Jesus Christ. But I realized that these people will be of use to me, since we both have a hatred for the NCR. Walking away from the town of Nipton, I again got confronted by some dyke from the NCR.
Since you haven't pissed yourself, I'll assume that you don't know who we are. Next time I'll bring my sickle and wear my black cloak. See, the NCR sends us when they want terrible things done to terrible people.
Why are they so anti-Semitic? What have I ever done to them?
You've got yourself a bad reputation with us, that's what. You've got 3 days to improve your reputation with the NCR, or we come for you, without all this pleasant conversation. Have a nice day now, you hear? Crap. You don't even want to live a few more days? Go. Get laid one more time or something. We're walking away. 3 days.
However, these people were extremely well armed, so I had to use all the tricks the Talmud taught me to win this battle. First, I turned invisible. Then I stole their ammunition, but since they couldn't see me, they got deceived that there is someone in their own group that stole from them. So I tricked them into attacking each other. After that, they're easy pickings. I managed to kill their leader, but was badly hurt in the process and needed healing. So I stole her armor and ate her corpse. Whoa, wait a second. Is that okay according to the Talmud? To eat human flesh? At the very least, sucking blood would be okay, because there is this tradition of sucking blood from a freshly circumcised baby penis called metsitsa bepe. I'm not making this shit up. You can look it up.
In the halacha, in Yeridea, that's the second section of the 4 sections of halacha called the Shulchan Aruch, the set table. In chapter 266, halacha 3, 4, 5, and 6, he describes how the circumcision is to be done. He says after the cutting, the mohel does what is called metzitza, and metzitza means to suck, and it means doing so with his mouth. And one could say, well, why can't you use a tube? Well, you could, technically, but it's not the custom as to how it was done. Now, why is it that way? Well, you could say that in the olden days you didn't have tubes. Now you can have tubes, so why not? The answer, as I thought about it, is that it's not as effective because the tube does not seal as well, it's not as pliable, and furthermore, it's not as quick and it's not as close. You have to have a quick suction action, you have to have more pliability, and also there's the theory, some people feel that it is, some people feel that it's not, that the saliva of a human being has some antiseptic qualities, and it's actually brought in the halacha of the Talmud that the saliva of certain people were actually used as curatives. And so saliva is not a bad thing.
And it's not like a corpse can get herpes from this procedure, like babies sometimes get when the rabbi doing the oral sucking is infected with the herpes virus.
In your 12 on Health report, Mayor de Blasio's administration is sitting down with a group of ultra-Orthodox Jews to discuss how to regulate a circumcision ritual thought to be behind 17 herpes cases. The practice involves the circumciser sucking blood from the infant's cut. 2 children who underwent that ritual have died, and 2 others suffered brain damage since 2000. Now, the de Blasio administration is working to make sure that health precautions are taken while also preserving religious freedom. About 3,000 babies are circumcised each year using this method.
It is a sacred and celebrated Jewish tradition, the circumcision or bris of newborn boys. But among some Orthodox and Hasidic Jews, there's a controversial element. A moil uses his mouth to suction blood from the wound. And once again, it's the talk of the town in heavily Orthodox communities like Monsey.
Everybody has concerns. You never know, things are scary. There's a lot of diseases, there's a lot of worries.
The Brooklyn District Attorney is investigating the death of an infant at Maimonides Hospital. The 2-week-old died last fall after contracting herpes during the ritual which is called metsitsa bepe. Health officials warn the virus can be transmitted during direct oral contact.
And therefore, it's something that people need to be aware of. Babies at this age have immature immune systems, and that puts them at particular risk.
Controversy over metsitsa bepe erupted almost a decade ago after 3 newborns contracted herpes. The state health department barred Rabbi Yitzhak Fisher of Monsey from performing such procedures, but there is no official regulation regarding the practice. Still, many defend the centuries-old practice.
We still keep on doing it, and we will keep on doing it because that's what it says in our religion, that's what we should do.
So what's the point of this video? The point is to not get your morals and ethics from old religious texts, because this could have terrible consequences for the people around you. But it could also have terrible consequences for yourself, because people might start hating you if you treat your fellow man as lesser humans. Since I'm probably banned after this video, make sure to follow me on Twitter, but also subscribe here on YouTube. I might make a part 2.